Hi, I'm Sarah Jane from Natural Heating, and today we're going to show you how to remove the transit clips behind the baffle on the Hwam 3000 range of stoves. That includes the 3110, the 3740, the 3420, I think it is. 3420. So what I wasn't aware of, and you can clean up the chimney when these these fixings are still in, but if you were to have a blockage, you actually need to take these transit clips out. And they're not the easiest because the instructions kind of lack a bit of information. They're okay, but they don't actually tell you you've got to snap a part off. So let's just show you how to do it. So this stove here is a 3740C, which is one of the 3000 range stoves. And the first thing that we have to do is just lift the baffle out the inside. So there's a couple of tabs on either side just here, and we just wiggle it up and drop it down the back behind those and lift it out. Now, the piece in question are these two angles, which without taking them out, you can only slide to the side, but there's not a huge amount of space. There's only about 1.5 inches behind here, and we want to be able to lift these out. Carrie, can we swap sides so I'm closer to the door? Now, if you can see where my fingers are up in the inside, let me just show you closer. See these fixings here? There's one on either side. These bits here, I actually need to take a pair of pliers. I'm doing it all with the wrong hand, so I don't know how to get in here. Right, Carrie's going to try and video while I try and get in there with the pliers and see what I'm doing with the phone on my face. You need to grab that. I need to loosen this off a touch. And see, can you pull the phone back till I get there? So we can put your torch on. Oh, it's better further back. Right. Right. Oh no, that's not too bad. Now we've got the torch on in this one. I've got to hold it with one hand and twist it with the other. So see that metal bit up there? Can I zoom in right enough? It's so hard to get in. You can see where there's a kind of crack in it. This bit here. That end piece here, we need to snap that off. Alright? Like quite literally snap it off. So there's the pliers on that bit. And it's quite tight. You have to wiggle it from side to side. Now I'm doing this with I need both hands, unfortunately. Can you see if you can? So it is metal, and you do need a good bit of twist on there. And I've got the wrong type of pliers to do this because they're too bulky. There we go, I've got it. There. Have you video that? Can we get that on there? Can you see? So we've broken that piece off, all right? Once you've broken that piece off, this wing will now... This is so hard to video this. Right, now we've broken that off, this wing will now remove, which gives you proper clear access. Just zoom that in. There it is, up at the top. This bit here. So we've snapped the end off of that bit. Managed to cut my hand doing that because, well, I was just fiddling and there's not a lot of space to try and both video and do it at the same time in there. But for anybody sweeping chimneys, it's not really customer based this, but for chimney sweeps, to get proper access into there, it probably hasn't been done on install because there's no need. You can commission and test the unit. You can fit it, you can run it, but when you come to clean the chimney, you need to be able to take these panels out. And if you're struggling, it's probably because you don't know you actually have to snap those off. They won't go back on afterwards. The panel will easily go back in afterwards. Let's just put her back in. Right, so here is the panel that I've snapped off. And we put this back in and turn it. Oops. And it will just hook back on in there. And then there's a little clippy bit there at the bottom. Oh, see, try to do it with one hand. I'm videoing what you're doing. There we go. And that's it back in. And then the baffle is easy replaced as when you took it out. It's a case of just putting this in the back. It's not easy to do with one hand. In the back and slide it up behind those tabs. out behind those tabs. And that is how you remove the bolts in the 3000 series. Right, so Martin, Lancaster and I had to go out to see a customer today, previous install earlier in the year, where we installed a 3740 Hwam series stove. The stove wasn't drawing, it wasn't performing at all, it was completely billowing the place full of smoke. The issue was not a fault with the stove at all, the issue was due to a blockage in the chimney. And the blockage was because after the stove was installed and left, the stove had still to be passed off by building control under planning because it was a new development. And for the air testing and efficiencies, the flue had been completely packed with insulation. Now they had obviously somehow managed to get their hand up inside the baffle and the stove and filled it full of insulation. We knew there had to be a blockage in there, but to remove that blockage, we also had to remove the transit clips to get full access to the flue. At that point, we realised that although you can sweep past it, you cannot get proper full access and you have to remove these transit clips. The instructions in the manual for the Hwam do tell you to take these clips off, but they don't make it obvious that you actually have to physically snap them off. So we learned how to do that today, and I am sharing this video to make sure that people actually chimney sweeping the stove know that you physically have to snap these off and how. So I hope that you find this helpful.
Right, Sarah, this has now been lit a good maybe 10 minutes, and this is what we're getting inside. It's your fuel we're using, your kindling we're using. Obviously there was a lot of moisture came down the front of the glass straight away, so we need to, I don't know what to say, whether there is a blockage in the chimney, which obviously I would need to investigate that further, but this is what we have currently at the minute. It's yeah, we've got smoke coming out under the top through the other vents, so obviously this is going to need further investigation.
Yeah, well, I actually got home now, and unsurprisingly we had a huge giggle when Martin pulled that mega huge chunk of insulation out the chimney. They just packed it all full. I believe they had also taped up the loft hatches and windows and all these different other bits that they had taped up when they were doing the SAP calculations for efficiency testing and things as they do, and forgotten to take that out the chimney. There's also a high chance that they might have forgotten to take it out the extractor fans as well, so the developer will deal with that later. But all's well that ends well. The gentleman who owned that house on that stove now has a beautiful burning fire, completely faultless with no issues, and everybody's happy that the issue has been resolved. But one thing we did learn today is how to remove these transit clips, and we just thought that we'd like to share that for those chimney sweeps out there, or anybody with other issues with Hwams that actually needs better access into the chimney that you can easy, well, not quite so easy, but you need to snap off those bits at the end. So thanks for watching, just another video for natural heating, and I'm going to go and enjoy my fire and maybe cook some dinner.